Virginia Tech looking to get back into serious contention in the ACC. We check out the quarterback position with Mike McDaniel from inside the ACC. Mike, it's always a pleasure. Good to get you back on here to size up the Hokies position by position. Let's start at quarterback. Obviously, going to have to replace Michael Brewer. 13 TDs, 7 interceptions with Brenden Motley, who we saw quite a bit of last fall, and also Jerrod Evans in the mix.
Yeah, so last year, Michael Brewer, obviously 1,700 yards passing, 58% completion percentage, and that's, due to the fact mostly that he missed pretty much half the season after breaking his collarbone at home in the opener against Ohio State, but still had 13 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, a 137.9 passer rating, so he was pretty efficient at the quarterback position despite missing most of the year, but Virginia Tech's definitely going to have to replace him. And the two guys, according to Justin Fuente, coming out of the ACC kickoff media day last week, where he was asked a lot of questions, obviously, about his offense and the quarterback position in totality. He went into detail about how Brenden Motley and Jerrod Evans have kind of separated themselves at the quarterback position. That's not to say that Duane Lawson and Josh Jackson won't have their fair shake in camp this fall, but as of right now, heading into the fall camp, it does seem like Brenden Motley, who's going to be a fifth-year senior heading into the season, and Jerrod Evans, junior college transfer, will be the two that are battling it out to fully replace Michael Brewer. We know a lot more about Brenden Motley than we do about Jerrod Evans. Brenden Motley last year, 92 of 164 passing in relief of Michael Brewer, threw for almost 1,200 yards. 56% of his passes were completed, 11 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. Brought a little bit more of a running threat as well to a position that Michael Brewer did not necessarily have. 88 carries for 224 yards and 3 touchdowns last year. So Brenden Motley does have that college experience in the ACC, which I think is pretty important when deciding who your quarterback's going to be. A guy who has experience and who's played in Lane Stadium before, knows how to run an offense, a collegiate offense at this level. But that's not to say that Jerrod Evans is not going to have his fair shot to win the starting quarterback job. He's coming in this year after transferring from junior college in Trinity Valley Community College in Texas. Last year in only 8 games, Evans threw for 38 touchdowns to only 3 interceptions. He can also run the ball a good bit as well. A very athletic 6'4" frame, pretty quick on his feet. A guy that can seemingly make all the throws at that level, but it's another animal when going and making the jump from junior college to the ACC. It's only time will tell whether or not Jerrod Evans is able to ultimately win the starting quarterback job and hopefully lead Tech to a better season offensively than they've had in the last few years.
Mike, if you're going to play odds maker in regards to setting up this, in regards to the odds coming into August camp, where would you lay it? What's your thought on what you would like to see play out, and what do you think is going to be the determining factor of selecting this quarterback?
Well, I think the determining factor is who picks up the new offense the quickest. You can't put a price on senior leadership, and that's why I think Brenden Motley might have a leg up, despite the fact that he was really inconsistent throwing the football last year. Jerrod Evans coming in is intriguing, though, and he's intriguing because Justin Fuente obviously brought him in for a reason. Coming in as one of the first recruits of the Justin Fuente era at Virginia Tech. I mean, no, he wasn't a recruit from, a 4-year, coming right out of high school and not playing any college football before, but he was one of the premier junior college quarterback prospects in the entire country. And Virginia Tech under Frank Beamer wasn't really known for bringing in a lot of junior college transfers. So the fact that they were intent on bringing in Jerrod Evans definitely tells you something. He obviously is going to have his fair shot at the quarterback position because Justin Fuente didn't just bring him in as a depth option. I mean, he wants to bring him in to hopefully succeed at the starting quarterback in the starting quarterback role. So he's going to have his fair look this fall. If I had to guess, I would say that Jerrod Evans wins the starting quarterback job just because he's Justin Fuente's guy. Brenden Motley's kind of a holdover, from the Frank Beamer era. And as far as, whether or not Brenden Motley's going to have a role on the roster, I mean, I think he'll definitely play a role. I think he'll see some playing time. I'm not sure that this is a situation where all of a sudden Jerrod Evans comes in, he's the guy, and then that could be it. I mean, I think that's best case scenario for Virginia Tech, because if Jerrod Evans comes in, sees as a starting quarterback job, I think Tech's in pretty good shape, assuming he plays well. But if he doesn't play well, he has trouble getting adjusted to the Division I level. We might see some of Brenden Motley, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Again, having starting quarterback experience is huge, but a 2-horse race, I'm going to give the slight edge to Jerrod Evans, just because he's Justin Fuente's guy, and that's really what I'm going on until I hear differently coming into fall camp.
Mike, there are better quarterback situations in the division for 2016, but if you go to 17 and 18 and the possibilities with Duane Lawson, the 5th-rated quarterback according to ESPN in 2015 out of Tampa, and then just in this last recruiting class, Josh Jackson, 8th-rated at his position out of Michigan, sets up for a nice quarterback battle going on down the road with 3 or 4 guys in the mix, and these 2 guys very highly touted.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the one thing about Duane Lawson is he already burned a year of eligibility, and that was really a really interesting decision by Frank Beamer's staff last year, because as soon as Michael Brewer got injured in the opener against Ohio State, you were automatically thinking, okay, Brenden Motley probably slides in, but maybe Duane Lawson gets an extended look. We can really see what they got at quarterback. He was a true freshman last year, but it's really interesting that they decided to really only put him in for a couple plays in some games. He only went 3 of 9 for 51 yards. He came in the blowout against Furman, the second game of the year, the week after Ohio State. Brenden Motley played a lot of that game, but we did see some of Duane Lawson there as well. It's just really interesting that Virginia Tech decided to burn Lawson's red shirt. I feel like if you're going to do that with a guy as highly touted as he was, you're going to make sure you're playing him a lot. But the fact that he only went 3 of 9 passing, and we really didn't see a whole lot of him the rest of the way, did not make a whole lot of sense to me to burn a full season of eligibility when you have a guy that's that talented. So it's interesting he's coming into the season as a sophomore. Now, whether or not he plays, I mean, you could theoretically put the red shirt on him and then only play him in an emergency situation. But they also have another quarterback that you mentioned, Josh Jackson, who was highly touted in his own right, who's a year younger, and he's coming in as well. I mean, you're not going to redshirt everybody. You're probably going to dress 3 or 4 quarterbacks, and those seem like the 3 or 4 guys that will definitely get their fair shake as far as dressing is concerned. But I think that Duane Lawson is probably a prime candidate to eventually transfer out of the program. I don't really see a situation where, barring major injury to some quarterbacks in front of him, seeing him coming in and making a big difference in Justin Fuente's offense unless something drastic changes. They've already burned a season of eligibility for him. He's probably not too thrilled about that. So looking elsewhere, I don't think it's out of the question for him down the road. As far as Josh Jackson is concerned, this is obviously coming into his first season as a college football player. He's the one guy that I think will definitely be redshirted this coming year, but from all indications, he's excelled in the workouts thus far, and all hopes are that he continues his development as a college football player come the fall.
All right, so 2 solid options for Justin Fuente in 2016 with Motley and Evans, but a brighter future with some higher ceiling guys with Lawson and Jackson for 2017, most likely, and beyond. Mike McDaniel from Inside the ACC, sizing up quarterbacks at Virginia Tech. Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, thanks, Mark.